I'm sure you've answered it obviously a million times, but back in 95 or so, when you get asked to audition for the band after the Undertow success and everything, what was that about? Because you're playing a Peach, and how did they know about you guys?
Well,
or you?
Well, my brother we had a mutual friend. My brother had started his own record label, and previous to that, he'd been traveling around America, or he'd been out in LA just after he'd left school and stuff. And he met the guy the first guy, Matt Marshall, who actually signed Tool, but he met him before that. So cut to maybe like 3 or 4 years later, they got back in touch, and he was like, "Oh, I'm running a label." Matt was like, "Oh, I'm working for Zoo," and they would send each other stuff, that they were working on or signing or interested in. And so my brother and I were probably the first people to get the Tool demo in England.
Wow!
Because Matt was kind of pursuing them, and he just called me in his bedroom and was like, "Just check this shit out, this is insane." And immediately I'd never heard anything like it. So after that, their success started to happen, and they come out to England. Actually, my brother and I flew out to CBGB's to go see them. Matt said,
on the EP tour?
It was with Rollins' band.
Oh, yeah.
And they were supporting Rollins, and so we flew out for a weekend. I was just out of school, so it was like the first bro trip abroad. And we met them all that night. We had dinner with them after their show. I was like sitting opposite Maynard, like shaking.
Yeah.
But there began a friendship, and ultimately, cut a year or two later, when they had the vacancy for the bass player, they had already had me, they'd done me a favor when they'd come back to England. They'd had my band support them.
Yeah.
One of their shows in a bigger venue than we would ever have been able to play, because we were just playing in the pubs and stuff. And, they considered me when they started looking for a new bass player, which it took me from left field. I was really shocked. I was not expecting that at all. But, my brother was the one, he kind of shook reason into me and said, "Look, you need to take this seriously. Go for it. This is what you want." Even though it was a little difficult because I was in a band, and it was after Peach. It was another band called Sterling. To be fair, the deciding factor was I wasn't completely happy with that situation. It wasn't the type of stuff I really saw myself doing musically. So that allowed me to make the step of actually. So,
right, you're not just ditching your buddies.
Yeah,
I get it.
If I'd really believed in it, it would have been a different thing, So anyway, that's the long and short of it. And I ended up going out, and I had to wait a month. They kicked me out of the band in England. So I was like, well, I'll just start writing stuff that I really want to write. I had a really positive outlook. I was always going to be in a band at that point, and I just started writing music. And riffs and stuff, and then a month later I got a call. They're like, "You're in. It's you." Like Maynard called me in the middle of the night. He's like, "You did it. You're in. See you next week."
Man.
So I moved out with a bag of clothes and my bass guitar.
Did you audition?
Yeah. So
what were the songs you had to play?
Oh God. Well, it was basically they'd written 4 songs or 3.5 songs for Anima.
Right.
The album. So there was Enema, Push It, Eulogy, and I want to say maybe is Stinkfist on that?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it was those 3 and another one, and I got a tape with very little. I don't think there was much vocal on it, but I basically was on the tube in London learning those, listening to it day after day. And then learning it, and I went out and You
flew out here?
I flew out here, and they picked me up. We had a week, or 4 or 5 days. But the first night after we rehearsed, Danny and me just hung out afterwards, and some of the Pygmy Love Circus guys came over. I'd met them before. We had a really great night, a bunch of drinks and stuff. And then about midnight, he's like, I was like, "Can we go in and try that again?"
Yeah.
So we went into the room and played through Enema and Eulogy again.
Without Maynard.
Yeah. I don't think even Adam was there, and it just was in the pocket,
Wow.
And we really, really gelled. And so the next few rehearsals were just really good.